Work podcast. You're with your host, Julian Leahy, and today I'm joined by the fantastic Mark V. Smith from Baltimore, Maryland. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it today.
And Mark is a very busy man. I've just been talking to Mark, and first of all, that shocked me was Mark's got 5 kids and 6 grandkids, and I thought, how can a man so young have so many children? And he's discovered the secret fountain of youth, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a fountain of youth, or I'd like to say it's more of just of a blessing. You know, it's just trying to do the right things and just being fortunate to be able to, I guess, hold it in, hold it in well. So the body feels 50. The body feels 57. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah. Just the dressing on top is looking good, and everything's broken underneath. Yeah, I feel a bit the same way. And you are very busy, Mark, and you're doing all sorts of fantastic stuff. You've got 2 things going on, and I guess we'll talk about both of them. But tell us what you're doing with the process, because I noticed you've got quite a presence on social media. There's a bit of buzz happening with what you're doing. Who is it that you're helping, and what are you helping them with?
Well, Julian, again, first and foremost, again, thank you for having me on. The process started back in 2018 when I lost my job. You know, I had worked for a for-profit school, and I had been in post-secondary education for over 15 years. And one day in December, December 2018, less than a week before Christmas, I get a knock on my door, and it was from our campus president. He said, "Mark, I need to see you in my office." And like most of us, we're thinking, what could I possibly have done that abruptly want to see me in your office? So I go in, he's in there, our regional director's in there, all the other management team is in there, and they tell us that they're closing their doors. And not just for today, and they're closing the doors for good. But to add insult to injury, Julian, they said they're doing that at 5 o'clock today. So literally, I had about a 6-hour notice that I had no job.
A week before Christmas.
A week before Christmas.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, a week before Christmas. So, a lot of things went in my mind then, why, losing your job parallels the 7 stages of grief, right? You think about anger, you think about frustration, you think about why you. And I always tell everybody I'd never been fired from a job. I've quit jobs to move on to other opportunities, but I've never, ever in my life been fired for a job. So I went home, and but first and foremost, I called my wife and told her that I was going to be there for lunch today. And she said, "Great, we'll have a good lunch." And she said, I said, "But I'm not coming back to work. We're closing our doors." So she immediately was kind of taken back and shocked. But she was a trooper. She's a supporter. She said, "Babe, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out."
She didn't panic.
I went home. No, she didn't panic.
That's good.
She was the glue. So I went home, and we conversated about it, got through the holidays. And she asked me, she said, "So now's the time that you should be able to do what you want to do." And I was still curious. I mean, what do you mean? What do you want to do? She said, "You've always had a passion for speaking to people, affecting change, and you always had that adage that comfort is the casualty of growth. Well, here you go. You got comfortable, and it stopped you from growing. But now's your opportunity to take where you have and what you've done and take it to the next level." So after about 3 or 4 weeks of feeling sorry for myself, being and still angry and agitated at what happened, I just started journaling. I started journaling about my feelings. I started journaling about what was the lesson that I'm supposed to learn without this. And Julian, that opened the door. That opened my mind to that old saying, Pandora's box. So I went back and looked at my life as a kid and thought about things that had occurred, things that lessons that were learned, individuals who were trying to tell me things back then that I like to say I had the blinders on. I didn't open my eyes to kind of take a look at and see. And I kept continuing writing. I said, well, let's do this first. Let's launch a YouTube video and see what happens. And January 16th, 2019, I launched my very first YouTube video that got well over 100 views, 100 likes, and started getting subscribers and followers.
On your very first video?
Very first video.
Oh,
Very first video.
wow. Cool.
So I continued to start to write, and then in June of that year, a good friend of mine came to me. He had wanted to introduce me to a gentleman that owned a radio station, Star 107 FM, based out of Columbus, Ohio. And we had a conversation, and the gentleman's name is David Bynum. And David said, Mark, I like what you're talking about. I'd like to offer you an opportunity to come present the process in front of on the radio every other Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And I
So
remember
this is based off YouTube, what you did on YouTube, this
based on what
opportunity. And how long were you on YouTube, and how many subscribers did you have when this opportunity occurred?
I think I probably had about 200 subscribers. So it really
Wow.
wasn't
Wow.
that many, but
You
it was
had an
still
impact.
enough to, yeah. And because I speak from the heart, Julian.
Yep.
I believe that everybody has, I use the old saying, everybody has to go through to get through. And I talk about that scenario. I talk about the time to when, I was a kid, and I played, we talk about leaders or individuals who affect us, affect change. And I go back and chronicle individuals who taught me things when I was young, like 9 years old. I had a football coach, man, at 9 years old that wasn't concerned too much about winning and losing. He was more concerned about teaching men how they should be, what a father is truly like, what a man in the community is supposed to be, how it's supposed to be respectful at all times, no matter where you are and where you go. So I started talking about those things and putting them out there on YouTube. And again, it was successful. So David asked me, would I be willing to take on a radio show? And initially I said, no, I'm not ready for that. And he laughed at me. He said, you know what? I'll never offer you this opportunity again. Think about it.
Oof.
So I went to my wife. I said, this is laying in front of my plate. What do you think I should do? And she looked at me. She just looked at me, turned her head and said, are you crazy? This is the golden opportunity for you to take advantage of something that you truly want to do. What are you scared of? What
Man,
are
your
you
wife's a
scared of?
champion.
Yeah, she said, and I go back and think about the things that I talked about as a career development specialist, and I talked about how just as many people are scared of success as they are of failure. So I think at that point in my life, I may have been scared of the success and the drive that it would take. And I went on and did it. Been with Star 107 FM for 2.5, almost 3 years now. And just recently, 2 weeks ago, just was signed to WGLRO, which is based out of Houston, with 64,000 daily viewers every single day. And the process is there now on Thursday mornings as well. So it's been just a reevaluation, Julian, just going back and looking at my life, figuring out how I can best impact people. And I impact them through storytelling. I impact them through my acronyms, and I impact them to let them know that, listen, you are going to be okay. There has not been one situation that you've gone through that you didn't get through. The results may not have been what you wanted, but you got through it. Now it's time to pick yourself up and believe in who you are, believe that you are purpose, and go out there and set the world on fire.
Awesome, Mark. And are you doing this are you speaking to people as well, the messages, as well as doing the radios and stuff?
Absolutely, I do. I speak to large audiences. I spoke with internet. I spoke at the International Workforce Professional IAWP. Spoke at their conference last year, and they had like 4,500 people. And I spoke at MACA, which is Mid Atlantic Career Counseling Association's conference this past year. And in just next weekend, I'm flying to Mobile, Alabama, speaking at a Boys to Men conference. That's expected right around 1,000 people. So yeah, it's a busy schedule. You encompass that. You encompass
Wow.
day-to-day life. You encompass everything that needs to be done. And I just feel it's just this time, man. It's just that time where we're living in a world that needs to hear positivity, right?
Oh,
We've been
absolutely.
surrounded with so much
Mm.
negativity and negative things that have gone on, that to hear that you can persevere no matter what it is, it's there. And I talk about the death of my father, how that impacted me for 10 years. It took me 10 years to release that in my mind, and my heart and my spirit. So again, I chronicle
Buildings,
everything that
and
I,
it's not.
I chronicle. I chronicle everything in life that kind of makes sure that and people understand that you're gonna make it through.
Awesome. And the radio show is coming on in a couple of hours, is it?
Yes, it's coming on in a couple of hours, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
What's the website so people can check you out on there?
It's www.wglro.com.
WGLRO. And yeah, so you got all that coaching happening. That's fantastic. I lost connection with you for a little bit, but I caught most of it. And what do you do with people if they want to reach out and speak to you and they want to get into your circle? Should they go to the processmarksmith.com? Do you have a strategy call or anything like that?
They do. At the very bottom, they do have an opportunity to send me an email. I get my emails; they come instantly. I'm like everybody else, creature to their phone, right? So it comes right to my phone, and I immediately reach out to you, see how I might be able to assist you. Big or small, doesn't matter what the organization is. If it's a one-on-one conversation that you want to have about something that you're going through, we can have a conversation about that. It's just about giving back, Julian. I mean, I've been so blessed and so fortunate over my life to not only share my experiences, but to help people. I like to say grow forward, not go forward, grow forward. So it's just reach out to me, let me know what you think, what's going on. Subscribe to the podcast, the process. Again, that's out there everywhere, man. That's on iHeartRadio, it's on Pandora, it's on Spotify, all the platforms. Take a listen. I guarantee you there's something in there that can help you with any one of the acronyms that I use.
Awesome, Mark. I love what you're doing, and I can just tell the sincerity with what you're doing, and I think that's why people are being drawn to you. And we need people like this. We need more people like this because we've been tearing each other down for the last couple of years and splitting. You know, it's terrible. So it's great, positive. We need more of it. And Mark, this guy's going to be the next Les Brown. Is Les Brown still around?
He's still around. Coincidentally,
Oh, okay.
you know, I remember Les Brown was on a radio station in Columbus, Ohio. That's where I'm from. It's called WVKO radio. And I remember listening to Les Brown when I was a kid. You know, it's just amazing to see his transformation as well from a disc jockey, radio disc jockey, to
Yeah.
one of the most powerful motivational speakers in the world.
He's awesome. I remember he did start in radio, and he tells the story about how he got the job. He was working at the station and he wanted to get on
Yep.
the air, and then something happened. The guy got fired or something, and he
The
had his
guy, the guy,
opportunity.
the guy did not show up to work because he was inebriated. He was intoxicated, and he had been following and emulating this guy for so many years. And then, boom, he got his shot and never looked back.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, love Les Brown. Great stuff. Well, thanks for coming on, Mark. I really love talking to you, and I'm sure the audience, people are going to be really connecting with you. I can just tell. So hopefully they're going to have a chat with you. And everyone else, thanks for watching and listening. That was a really great session. And I'll see you very soon on another episode. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Have a good day.